Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name's John. Today is day 60 of my 2-month Fasted-Thenics challenge. I'm going to start with the numbers. Today I weighed 176.3 pounds. Blood pressure was 120/77. Blood glucose was 59 milligrams per deciliter, and ketones were at 4.4 millimoles per liter. So I'm going to keep this one really short today. Not getting off to a good start this week. The doctor called out sick, so I got all the way there. It takes me about 30 minutes to get to the the doctor's office, and anyway, apparently he was sick, and I couldn't get it rescheduled before Friday. So I went ahead and purchased lab work through an online company, and I'll be getting that done through Quest Diagnostics tomorrow. Hopefully I don't have any issues. I'm going to try and get there right when they open so that I can go ahead and knock it out sooner than later, just in case something does happen, that I'll be able to get it done either later on tomorrow or on Wednesday sometime. I'm trying to leave Thursday completely open to get packing done and do any last minute chores or errands before going out of town for vacation. So anyway, what I ended up doing was rescheduling the annual for near the end of the next 2-month fast, which would be Friday, May 22nd. So after this week, I'm breaking my fast on Friday, which is day 64. Again, that's going to be Hawaii time between 2 and 4 o'clock sometime. And I would pick a time, don't get me wrong, but you kind of have to go with the flow when you're traveling. Sometimes flights get delayed, the bags might take a while, waiting in the line to get a rental vehicle, that kind of thing. Some of those things you just can't, squeeze into a tight schedule. So I'm leaving a 2-hour window. I'm hoping that first food will be before 4 o'clock. I think the flight comes in about 1:20 in the afternoon. So hopefully we can get out of the airport by about 2 o'clock, 2:30, and get over to Waikiki. And I'll be eating for the first time in like 2 months. So I'm really excited about that. So in the future, after this fast, there's going to be a 3-week period, including this vacation, where I'm going to be eating my version of SAD, which is a tamer, much more, I don't know, health conscious standard American diet. I'm not, there's certain things that I will be avoiding, as I have been for, goodness, at least 5 years. No drinking calories for the most part, so no soda, no fruit juices. I do drink a little bit of cream in my coffee, and occasionally on vacation, alcohol. Outside of that, not going crazy with carbs. I do on vacation plan on trying out things that I've never had before, especially things that any particular area is known for. So I'm being in Hawaii, I'm sure there's going to be, some rice dishes, some pasta dishes. Goodness, who knows? But I'm not going to be avoiding anything in particular unless I just feel like it's unnecessary, or I don't necessarily find it as like a big favorite. And those things are going to vary from person to person. One of the things that I crave the most is peanut butter and banana sandwiches. What else? Occasionally on vacation, milkshakes. So I don't know if there's going to be an opportunity for that, but I know Hawaii is known for shave ice, and I've never had that before. I've had snow cones here, but I don't really care for them. But I will try at least one when I'm in Hawaii, and that's not something I generally get into. But anyway, I'm rambling on again. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up. Wrap this video up right now. If you've got any comments or questions about this Fasted-Thenics series, please leave those below. If you find the information in these videos interesting, please give me a thumbs up. If you're interested in seeing kind of like the compilation of a lot of the data that I've been, kind of accumulating over the 2 months doing this fast, I'm going to try and put those things together. And I know I'm repeating myself from video to video, but it is the case. I don't have a lot of people watching right now, so there are going to be a lot of people watching for the first time. So I don't want to miss out on explaining myself. So I do plan on compiling the information in a useful way, something that's going to reveal some interesting information. And that's going to be one focus. So putting out a handful of videos having to do with this particular fast. Then there's going to be a handful of videos having to do with the very first fast, which I consider kind of a trial run. And then I'm going to be doing one other 2-month fast starting the month of April. And that'll run till towards the end of May. And then after that, I'm basically trying to learn a few things so that I can tweak a regular kind of schedule where I'm cycling through different kinds of diets. I know that sounds kind of faddish, but it really is not. I've been eating mostly, predominantly ketogenic. I'd say 60 to 80% of the year for the last 5 years. And it's kind of like last year, I'd say less so, but the year before, I probably was the peak of my ketogenic experience. And I'd say I ate ketogenic for about 80% of the year. What I intend to do is kind of cycle between a keto diet, fasting of some sort, not straight water fast. I still have some research to do on that, some more reading and listening to experts in that field, and kind of deciding what I should do. It is possible that I might do water fasts up to a week. I don't want to do longer than week-long water fasts. Now, my experience last summer, I did one for 4 weeks, and it was actually 1 day shy of that, 27 days with just water. I don't think that that's a good idea for most of us. And even in my case, I was in pretty good shape. I made some mistakes. So anyway, I'm trying to learn from that. I'm trying not to put myself at risk, and I'm trying to maximize the benefits of the things that I'm doing as far as diet and nutrition. So fasting of some sort, maybe water fasting, but most likely it's going to be something more like utilizing a protein shake and bone broth in order to keep electrolytes up and keep hormone production up with things like cholesterol and eggs that I consume right now. So anyway, so ketogenic diet, fasting, and then 1 week every month where I'm eating basically my definition of a standard American diet, which is a dialed down version of what most people, conceptually think of as a standard American diet. I'm not buying bags of chips and Little Debbie snacks and cookies and cakes and all that stuff and keeping it in the house. What I'm talking about is predominantly eating healthy, but consuming enough carbs where that's kicking me out of keto. So if I have dinner at a Mexican restaurant, I'm not going to be in keto most likely the next morning unless I did a heavy amount of exercise after I eat. Another example would be sushi at a Chinese restaurant or a Japanese restaurant. A lot of times around here, they kind of intermix the two, and it'll be like a hibachi grill buffet kind of situation, and they'll have a hibachi stand, and then they'll have a sushi stand, so forgive me for that. What else? I gotta have pizza occasionally, and I do mean that. I need to have that. I think it's one of the food groups for me. And what else? Donuts are another food group that I need to partake in. And there are a few things like that I just kind of indulge in. But for the most part, we're not talking about overindulging or gorging, going to a buffet and just eating 5 or 6 plates of whatever I feel like eating and just ramping up on heavy carbs. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is I'm not going to be in keto the next day. Now, obviously, something like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, that is indulging for sure. But in my view of diet, I don't consider that as overindulging or being a glutton. That is liking a particular food product that is not necessarily healthy. Um, it's arguably not unhealthy if taken within moderation, like occasionally, once every month. I don't think is overindulging. So ice cream, that's another one. Um, I'm just having trouble thinking of examples, but I think you get my point. So I'm trying to. I understand the ketogenic diet. I obviously understand the standard American diet, and my version of that is definitely much healthier than kind of the way I used to eat when I was in my 20s and highly into sports and really active at work and just burning through probably 2,500 to 3,000 calories on a lot of days. When you're burning through that many calories, you can eat a lot more, recklessly. When you have a sedentary job and you decrease the athleticism in your life, you're not getting out there and getting active, then all of a sudden, and you age, then all of a sudden those kind of like combine into this perfect storm of metabolic syndrome, and your body blows up. You start putting on a lot of fat, and then you start that kind of expresses itself in all sorts of different directions, especially like diabetes and high blood sugar for sure. It could go into high blood pressure, and then you're talking about heart issues, lipid panels looking like crap, and then if you're like me and you've got one of the ApoE combinations where you're more prone to getting Alzheimer's or dementia, then you have to be really careful with blood sugar. So I'm basically I want to enjoy my life. Food. The one thing that I've learned over these past two-month fasts is how much pleasure I get from eating food. Now, you take it for granted when you're doing it every day, but just eating an omelet in the morning with a cup of coffee, that's a pleasure that you don't get to experience if you're not eating at all. It's not like you're being gluttonous or anything like that, but there are you've got taste buds, you've got the mouth feel of chewing up and swallowing the food. There's some kind of like satiating pleasure of actually swallowing it and feeling satisfied with the amount of food that you're putting into your body. There's something that you're just missing there. So I'm not willing to give up that. I don't think many of us are. So what I'm trying to do, just as a normal guy, not a doctor, not a health researcher expert, I follow experts in these areas and other people that kind of aggregate from these experts along with me, and I try to pull bits of information out of what I'm consuming as far as information, and trying to find ways of implementing it in my life. And I've had successes and failures in that regard, and I'm trying to kind of dial down exactly what I think I can stick to. Excuse me. So I don't want to go like willy-nilly and just feast and famine, that kind of thing. That's not the intent of this. Fast, and just slam myself with a ton of like ridiculously unhealthiness as far as food goes. That's not what I'm going for here. I'm trying to get onto some sort of schedule that is going to optimize my health to an extent, and then maintain the pleasure of being able to share meals with other people, and the pleasure of me consuming it myself. So, having said that, once again, the kind of like direction that I think I'm going in right now is 2 weeks of keto, 1 week of fasting of some sort, maybe water fasting, but most likely the fasting will involve bone broth and maybe even a protein shake. And this week, starting yesterday, I am testing out a shake without the protein powder. It's just got egg and almond milk. And I know yesterday's video I said it would be, I think, 3 eggs and 2 cups of almond milk. I have reneged on that. I am doing, being I'm giving up the protein shake, what seems to taste the best so far is 1 egg per 1 cup of the unsweetened coconut almond milk. And I am also sprinkling in it a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of cocoa powder. So no sugar, no sweetener, none of that, just for taste. And I actually, I'm sprinkling some stuff in it. I'm dashing some turmeric into it as well. Blend that up into the Vitamix, and that makes 4 cups. And I drink 1 cup of that after each of the workout sessions, along with the continued 1 cup of bone broth. So that's the difference there. I believe that what was keeping my ketones down, because I was hovering between, I think, 3.9 and 4.5 millimoles per liter on ketones, whereas last summer I did 4 weeks of fasting with just water, and then I just did bone broth and electrolyte supplement powder until the end. And I kept, multiple times, I pegged the meter at 8.0 millimoles per liter. And it actually says something other than that. I think it says max or high or something to that effect, to let you know that it can't read above that. So I don't know what they actually shot up to, but I've been kind of disappointed that I haven't broke. I think I got up to 6 one day, but for the most part, it's been like in the 4s. So I'd like to see if eliminating the protein powder remedies that. That's one of the reasons for the change. And my blood pressure has been, I don't know, really close to the edge, the borderline of normal readings. So I've been hovering near 120 over 80, whereas last summer, many times I was getting like 112 over 71 or something like that, which is considerably lower considering. I mean, I'm still in the healthy reading range, but it's kind of, striking some thought in me about why is it more difficult to get into the normal range on blood pressure this time around. So, and there's 2 things. So I'm testing one of those right now. One, I think maybe I was drinking too much coffee up until yesterday. So I'm tapering that off today and tomorrow, and then there would be no coffee for the last couple of days, and we'll see if the ketone reading shoots up. The other, which I'm not testing now, has to do with last summer I gave blood during, I think it was the 3rd week of the water fast. I went and gave blood, and that was a mistake for sure. I actually, it reduced my blood pressure to the point where standing up really fast was making me a little lightheaded, and I actually passed out once. Going to the bathroom, standing up after that, and just face planting. So I highly not advisable to give blood while you're long-term fasting. That's probably a no-brainer, but I'm kind of a glutton for punishment sometimes. So anyway, I've rambled on long enough again, but I think you kind of get the idea of what I'm shooting for here. So I'm kind of, taking fasting to an extreme, doing it 2 months, and then trying to suss out some of the issues that I'm having with lab work and seeing if I can't fix that over a 2-month period. And if I can, which I'll talk about this tomorrow as far as scheduling of these things that I do during the day, the workout sessions and the consuming of the bone broth and the protein shake. I need to be more regimented on the scheduling because the timing of when I stop consuming those liquids has a lot to do with my body water composition first thing in the morning when I take the weight measurement. And if I was drinking later in the day, then I've got a higher body water percentage, which throws off kind of the trend line. You know, day to day it throws it off. Now overall you still get this gorgeous, gradual slope down, but I think I can make it look a little better. I think if I got stuck in one of those clean rooms and they just tied me down and just made me do things at a certain time when the bell rang, I think those numbers would look a lot more linear. So right now they're kind of zigzagging up and down as they're traveling down that slope. So next 2-month fast, that will be number one on the list as far as what I need to fix in order to more perfect this 2-month fast thing. I'm hoping that will be the last time I do this long of a fast in the future. Like I said, for normalcy, 2 months, two out of each month, 2 weeks of keto, 1 week of fasting, 1 week of my definition of a standard American diet, and then once a quarter, I've got an extra week, and I think that's going to end up being turning one of those fasting weeks into a 2-week fasting week, 2-week fasting period. And I think that's going to work. I may have to make some adjustments. I'm going to stick to it through to the end of the year and just kind of like look at the numbers, reassess, and see if it's something that I'm going to be happy with, and something that's going to also make me happy as far as the results with my lab work regularly, as far as those metrics which reveal like whether my health's in good shape or not. So anyway, I do appreciate you watching. Like I said, if you've got any comments or questions, please leave those below. I'd be happy to spend some time and answer those. If you like the content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you think you'll be interested into the upcoming content that I'll be producing after these series are over. So I'm kind of like flailing around here with words, but I do appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.